So, Microsoft has bought Activision Blizzard in a huge deal that has basically equaled around $70 billion. And according to this article, Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick, who has received just about as much controversy as one could in the video game industry, it mentions that he's going to be staying on as CEO for the company. Although I do remember reading just recently that he's actually going to be leaving once the deal is fully complete. So I'm not really sure which one to believe on that front. Now, this is a very big story. This is a huge story. I think this is a larger story than when Microsoft bought out Bethesda. And that's because of the IPs that Activision Blizzard owns. So just scrolling down here, Activision Blizzard is in charge of some, pretty popular IP. They got Overwatch, which is basically like the most popular games as a service multiplayer title. They're in charge of Diablo. They're in charge of World of Warcraft, which is huge. The main one, though, is Call of Duty. Call of Duty continues to basically outsell everything every time they release a new one. And it's a franchise that's been on a yearly release schedule since 2007's Modern Warfare. So just reading some of the fine points of this deal between Microsoft and Bethesda, according to current Microsoft CEO, Satya Nadella, he says, and I quote, "Gaming is the most dynamic and exciting category in entertainment across all platforms today and will play a key role in the development of the multiverse platforms." Yeah, I wouldn't really get excited for that as someone who enjoys video games. That's not something to really be enamored about. And then Bobby Kotick, who's the CEO of Activision Blizzard currently, he said, and I quote, "For more than 30 years, our incredibly talented teams have created some of the most successful games. The combination of Activision Blizzard's world-class talent and extraordinary franchises with Microsoft's technology, distribution, access to talent, ambitious vision, and shared commitment to gaming and inclusion will help ensure our continued success in an increasingly competitive industry." Seems like a bunch of fluff to me. So this is Microsoft's gaming division, their leadership as it stands right now. These people are in charge of different things when it comes to Microsoft's gaming division. Some are in charge of the business side of the gaming division at Microsoft. Some are in charge of, the overall keeping of the staff. Some are in charge of the cloud. This deal with Activision Blizzard, it's only going to make Microsoft grow. It's going to make their leadership grow. The number of their employees just shot up exponentially. But when it comes to consumers and what consumers want to know, what gamers want to know, how is this actually going to affect the various IPs that Activision Blizzard have been overseeing for years? Well, the real answer to that question is we don't know. We don't know right now how this is going to change, gaming as a whole, the industry at large. We don't know exactly how this is actually going to play out. We still haven't even seen the full extent or even a glimpse of how the Microsoft Bethesda acquisition, how that's going to play out. We haven't even seen that in full speed just yet. Now, the big question amongst all these IPs is, what's going to happen with Call of Duty? Is Microsoft going to limit Call of Duty to just their platforms, which would obviously be Xbox and PC? And you just won't have Call of Duty on PlayStation consoles anymore. Well, there has been a response on that. Now, as analyst David Cole has stated, Call of Duty has been the best-selling video game franchise and tracked dollar sales for 13 straight years. And he's not lying. Call of Duty makes number one every time they release a new iteration every single year. And it doesn't matter how bad the games are. It doesn't matter how regurgitated the formula is, people continue to buy Call of Duty in surplus. And that's because Call of Duty really appeals to the casual gamer. It doesn't necessarily appeal to hardcore, the hardcore audience, but definitely casuals. It would be a risky move for Microsoft, at least for now, to limit Call of Duty to one platform, which is what Cole stated in this comment right here. And Phil Spencer even issued a statement on this as well. And he said, and I quote, "I'll just say to players out there who are playing Activision Blizzard games on Sony's platform, it's not our intent to pull communities away from that platform, and we remain committed to that." Well, they remain committed to that for now. Eventually, I can see Microsoft trying to take all of these big major franchises that they've acquired through these acquisitions and basically limiting them to one platform. Because why would you spend all of that money to buy large companies like Bethesda and Activision Blizzard if you don't actually intend to make some of those big franchises that these companies own exclusive to your platform? It would be a waste of time and damn sure a waste of money. So for now, I can see them playing ball and allowing some of these franchises to continue seeing releases on Sony's console with the PlayStation brand, but I don't think that's going to be indefinitely the case. Eventually, I can see them making Call of Duty exclusive to the Xbox. And not just Call of Duty, but some of these other franchises as well. The Elder Scrolls would be another good example. But there's another part of this that I also wanted to discuss, which is Electronic Arts was also interested in purchasing Activision Blizzard. Now, obviously, the reason they didn't get it, if they were really, truly thinking about going through with this, acquisition, is that Microsoft has more money than Electronic Arts, and they made the higher bid. So that's why they got the company instead. But my question is this: how many more companies does Microsoft intend to purchase? Because they don't need to buy every single company that's out there in the gaming business. They only need to acquire certain ones to really come out on top. They're playing the long game versus what Sony is doing. What Sony is doing is that they've been acquiring different companies that have been loyal to the PlayStation brand for quite some time. Companies like Insomniac Games, companies like Housemarque, for example. But Microsoft, they're interested in big acquisitions, clearly. They bought Zenimax Media, which included Bethesda, and then they've also just now purchased Activision Blizzard. So the real question is, what's next? Now, if it was me, if I was in charge of Microsoft, from a business perspective, I would try and go after one of the major Japanese gaming publishers. Specifically Capcom. Square Enix has already stated in the past that they're not interested in making a deal to merge with a company like Microsoft or Sony, and they just want to remain independent. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but a company like Capcom, for example, that would be a great acquisition for Microsoft. And another question that arises from this is, should Sony be concerned about... So Sony stock dropped $20 billion thanks to the Microsoft Activision Xbox deal. So that's 13%. Should Sony be concerned about this? I think on some level they should, because if Microsoft makes at least one or two more acquisitions similar to this, I think it's a nail in a coffin at that point. Sony's strategy has always been based on their exclusives. But eventually, I think that strategy is going to tire out, is going to be worn out, because they're going to lose the long game, which is the acquisition of content itself. And that's what Microsoft's strategy is. And when you combine that with Game Pass, I mean, in a way, Microsoft has kind of already won, if we're comparing the business of both companies together. Like I said, all Microsoft has to do is purchase one of these companies right here, Or they could purchase, a company like Ubisoft, for example. If something like that happens, it's done. It's done. Sony does not have the money that Microsoft has to make large acquisitions like this. I'm very interested to see where this goes. Now, some people are going to hate Microsoft for, buying up all these companies and their business strategy, which is just to throw around money and make these big acquisitions. But from a business perspective, it is rather smart, and it's undoubtedly going to change the industry. Many think it's going to change the industry for the worse, but let's be honest, video games now, as they exist today, are nowhere near as good as how it used to be back in the day. If anything, this story will actually give Microsoft the chance to address certain industry concerns. At this point, Microsoft is becoming a monopoly within the gaming industry, and time will only tell to see if consumers actually support this business strategy.